Hey, what's going on, GameLeapers? This is Eags in today's upload, 13.7 changes. In this video, we are going to talk about the win rates. So the champions who got changed in this patch, how much have they improved, how much have they gotten worse? We're going to get into all the details in the next 10 or so minutes, so make sure you stick around for the whole thing. And guys, if you do want to improve for this game, bro, like, this video is not going to help you, mate. You're still going to be clamped. You're still going to be hard stuck at the end of it. And by the way, like, if you're one of those people who think that champions matter, like, dude, Faker can pick, I don't know, Teemo mid lane and still pop off in like a diamond platinum game. You know why? That's because he knows how to play this game as well as anyone. That's really what the elo system is about. Who you play is largely irrelevant. So you can listen to this video and tell your friends about how broken this champion is and how amazing the buffs have been for this champion, but in the big picture, it doesn't mean anything. What actually means something is telling your friends about the GameLeap website, because I challenge your players and coaches, upload so many videos for your benefit, and that's right, for your benefit. You will actually improve, like hardcore improve, not like pseudo improve and win one more game in your next 100 because you're playing an OP champion. We're talking about improving fundamentally at the game, which is what every challenger player has under their belt. So to know exactly what it's like to feel the power like a challenger player, sign up to the website, link down below, and yeah, let's get into the video. So we will start by talking about the champions who got buffed in 13.7. Starting us off, we have Kalista, whose win rate in Platinum and above, and all these stats, guys, are from Platinum and above, and Kalista's win rate has actually dropped by over 1%. Now, I'm guessing the reason for this is that, like, lots of Kalista players, well, there's just more of them now who aren't used to Kalista, right? Because they kind of like you guys watching this video. Kalista got buffed, oh my god, let me pick her, and you don't actually know how to play the champion, which is just like a big issue. It doesn't matter how broken she is. If you can't play her, if you can't kite, and she is very difficult to play, you're going to lower the win rate. So yeah, I just think there are a bunch of like new Kalista players playing this champion, and that's why her win rate's dropped, but there's no doubt in my mind she is stronger, and Kalista mains, let me know down below if you can actually feel the attack damage growth buff in particular. Now next up we have Yasuo, and funnily enough, Yasuo's win rate has also decreased it. Even though you are getting a bigger passive shield, the E buff is kind of like maybe a bait in a way. Yes, you might be getting up to 4 stacks from your E, but the issue is like how often are you actually going to be getting to 4 stacks during the laning phase? Of course, you can like E through 4 minions and get onto the enemy champion, but it actually takes longer to stack up now, and it's a lot easier to react to for the enemy champions, right? So in a way, this was actually just a nerf, and that is actually reflected in the win rate drop here. But the way to still play this champion is to still max your Q first, and because you're maxing your E last and you actually get the damage at rank 5 now, you're going to wait until level 13 until you get the max juice out of it. So a pretty interesting patch for one of the Win brothers. Now moving into the jungle here, we have Graves, whose win rate, I don't know why it is, guys, but like most of these champions who got buffed, their win rates drop, and Graves exactly the same thing. But the reason here is actually really clear, and that's because his pick rate has gone through the roof. It's actually double than what it was before. So again, it's kind of like the Kalista thing, right? Kalista's almost double. So with Graves being played over twice as much, this means that lots of new players who are new to Graves are playing him and affecting his win rate. No doubt he got buffed. They might not be the biggest buffs in the world, but his win rate certainly should not decrease. Again, the only explanation for this is because lots of people who don't know how to play the champion are just playing him because they're like you guys watching this video. They think this is going to be the cheap, easy shortcut to getting better. It's not. They are still trash. Now, Katarina, mid laner, her win rate has actually gone down almost 1%. Why? I've got no idea. I don't know if it's because people are going like hybrid build or trying some, you know, random build out because of like the attack speed thing they gave you with your ultimate. I'm not sure what the go is here, but maybe again it's because her pick rate is improved by 3%. So it's over 12% now. Her ban rate has also gone up quite a lot, and her win rate is still around like 50% for platinum and above. It's really like not that bad, even if it has decreased, maybe because yeah, lots of new Katarinas are playing her, and I'm guessing like lots of new Katarina players are just locking her in and running it down the mid lane with her. Now Alistar, if we go down to the bot lane, Alistar actually got legit buffed, and there's no doubt that this, like, I don't think it changes anything, dude, honestly. Like, even though his win rate has gone down 0.3%, guys, just play him. Like, he's a lot tankier in the early game. He works really well with a lot of champions who are pretty good in the bot lane at the moment, whether it's something like Kalista who got buffed, whether it's something like Samira to counter champions maybe like Draven and Aphelios. He has a lot of actual uses, and you don't even have to engage sometimes. You can also act as a peeling Alistar. So Alistar in 13.7, he's definitely better. These stats are just pretty pseudo at the moment. But one champion, the only champion, guys, who actually got like changed or buffed in 13.7, whose win rate has improved almost 2%, thank goodness for this, is Azir. So for the Emperor Shurima, the best way to play this guy now is actually to max your W first. And the funny thing at the moment, right now in 13.7, in Challenger Elo, Azir has over a 55% win rate. Now, honestly, we just know what's going to happen, right? Like, if the pigeon stays like this, bro, he's going to be picked and bound to MSI, and we're just going to be in the same, like, pro play meta we've been in for God knows how long, like, since, what, season 5 or 6, whenever he, like, really became popular. So, yeah, it's kind of unfortunate, maybe, but he is actually buffed. So a W max into a Q max, with the new damage you get from your W and the less damage and range I guess you get from your Conquering Sands, it's obviously more worth to max your Arise, and your win rate as a result has arisen. That was pretty bad, but I don't care. Is this better? And as mains, if you're listening, I'd love to know how he actually feels in the comment section. Are you happy? Are you unhappy with the buffs? Let us know down below. Now moving into the champions who actually got nerfed in 13.7, and all of these win rates have actually dropped, thank goodness. Now the champion who has actually dropped the most in terms of win rate is Rammus. Because you're getting less armor in the mid to late game, your win rate has dropped over 3%. That is huge. But the funny thing is, it's just below 50%, so it's still kind of respectable. That's in Platinum and above. Now, Olaf in the top lane, his win rate has also dropped close to 3%, and that's because you're getting less attack speed from your passive, and your Q, which you're maxing first, is actually dealing less damage. Now, there might be some interesting tech out there where you might max like your W or E first, maybe. We'll have to wait and see if that actually becomes legit. But yes, if you're still playing Olaf the same way in 13.7 as you were from 13.6, the Viking is a lot worse off in the top lane. And I wouldn't even be surprised if Riot gave him like kind of a little bit of a compensation buff, but his win rate is still close to like 51%. And moving to the jungle, Wukong, one of those popular junglers in pro play at the moment who got nerfed. Well, thank goodness he's getting nerfed. It's about time because he's picked and banned all the time, right? Divine Sunderer, Conqueror stacking Wukong. It's too strong, and because your early game really got hit here as far as your attack damage goes and the actual attack speed from your E that you're getting, the W cooldown nerf doesn't really like do anything, but hey, it might mean something in mid to late game team fights, and yeah, his win rate has dropped 2.7%. It's still above 50%, so of course you can still pick the Monkey King, but he's nowhere near as strong. That's the same for Sejuani as well, guys. Her win rate has dropped just over 2.5%, so her win rate overall is actually now below 49%. You only really want to be picking Sejuani, therefore, if you've got a lot of melee champions on your team, or if you think you can just like cuck the enemy champions. So like your Q is really good at knocking up champions who are in the air or go airborne, something like a Zac, for instance. Sejuani can do very well into. But yeah, Sejuani worse off in 13.7. Another champion worse off is Lee Sin. His win rate has dropped 2.38%, and kind of like Wukong, your base attack damage going down, your base armor going down. This means that Lee Sin's early game, which is really where he, kind of like flourishes, is not as good. So Lee Sin, be careful about locking in the Blind Monk, thinking he's as strong as he was before, because he clearly is not. Now, Zeri is really the only pure AD carry who got nerfed in this patch, guys, and what's happened is that your win rate has dropped over 2%. Now, I actually think this is good. I know that Zeri mains are probably going to be unhappy, right? But you're still playing Zeri. It's not like her identity got crushed where you're losing movement speed or attack speed or anything like that. Yes, you're losing a little bit of health growth and a couple of other things, but it's not the end of the world. This champion as well, especially in high reloads, was very oppressive. This brings her in line a bit, and I think in lower elos as well, you can actually pick her without her being banned and, picked by the enemy team in every single game. Now, moving into the jungle, Kha'Zix's got some interesting changes. Not really nerfs, but they actually have proven to be nerfs, kind of to my surprise as well. Because for the enemy champions to be isolated, well, they can actually be closer to their teammates, so you can actually proc your isolation damage a lot more. But the issue for Kha'Zix is that, well, you lost a lot of your slow. Yes, the slow was like 90% when you got your like void spikes evolved, but the issue here is that your W is kind of like just a useless ability until you evolve it now, because they really just like giga nerf the slow on the pre-evolution. And yes, your ultimate might be lasting a little bit longer, and it does make it interesting if you're going something like Axiom Arc, but it doesn't really do that much. Like Kha'Zix in the current meta against a lot of Conqueror champions in the jungle, it's pretty hard to actually like make him work. Ever since the durability meta, Bug Splat hasn't really been like popping off, so kind of unfortunate, but maybe if there is some sort of like follow-up buff to Kha'Zix, he actually becomes really good again. Now Thresh, one support who got changed in 13.7, and that's just the fact that your Q, so the actual like kind of when you get it back up, well, you're not going to have it back up after you land one death sentence now, so you can't chain CC someone with that lasso. This is just a good change from Riot, and his win rate is still above 51% in Platinum and above, really not that bad, so it has dropped like close to 1.5%, but honestly guys, not a big deal. Still pick Thresh in the same games you're going to pick him in. Now Annie in the mid lane, guys, and also as a support here, which is where she really got nerfed, has decreased in terms of win rate. So your win rate is still over 53.4% in the mid lane, so big deal, but it has dropped over 1.2% because of the E nerfs, and as the support, it's dropped even more to over 52%. But yeah, it has actually dropped over 2.6% if you're playing Annie support in Platinum and above, because yeah, as Annie support, you're maxing your E first, and because that's what they really nerfed from rank 2 onwards, so if you put more points in it, it's actually less worth now, so Annie's win rates in both roles have dropped, which makes sense for mid lane as well. It was of course going to impact her, but nowhere near as support Annie. Now the final two champions here, guys, both begin with the letter V. First of all, we have Veigar. Now if you're playing Veigar in the mid lane or in the bot lane, both iterations of Purple Gandalf are going to be worse. So his win rate in the mid lane is just below 51% for Platinum and above. This has dropped over 1% in the last couple of days. But AD carry or AP carry bot lane Gandalf, this has actually decreased over 2%. So wherever you're playing Veigar at the moment, you are just in a worse position. It's harder to get out of the early game without being behind, whether it's even in terms of farm now because you're losing AP right in your Q and even your W. It's harder to actually get those stacks and get to the mid to late game without being super far behind. Because of this, you are a lot more team reliant. So if your team is running it down in the first 10 to 15 minutes, it's a wrap. It's GG. They're the last champion to talk about, guys, and if you are enjoying our Season 13 content, make sure you leave a like down below. Any questions about the video as well, leave a comment. Don't really think there are going to be questions to these videos, but anyway, we have Vi, whose win rate has actually dropped the least, and it's only gone down by 0.8%. She's still picked in over 7% of games, and to still have over a 51, close to 51.5% win rate, not really a big deal here. We don't have to go around, complaining about how these nerfs killed Vi. So yeah, I think Vi, you can still pick her, kind of like Thresh, right? Just still pick these champions in the same games you were going to pick them in, no real worries there. So those were the champions, guys, who got changed the most in 13.7 as far as like the buffs and nerfs, and yeah, what actually happened to their win rates in the last couple of days. Tomorrow we'll probably do some sort of like updated tier list video, so make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss that. More fast food, I know you guys love it. And yeah, we'll see you in tomorrow's video. This has been X. Peace.